And it helps that in the human form of life, one is able to travel in cars and aeroplanes. So that is how important it is. And unless and until humans bring their pets along, they don't have an opportunity at all. So the ability to enjoy the senses is extremely powerful in the human form of life. So wherever there is an opportunity given to enjoy facilities, there is always also the expectation that we have greater responsibilities. Is that true? Isn't it? Hence, in the human form of life, it is a great responsibility to have a higher goal and to achieve that goal. So, the scriptures convince us that we are not this body, we are the soul. In the early days, Srila Prabhupada, in the early days of ISKCON, when Srila Prabhupada was taking classes in downtown New York, 2nd Avenue. Srila Prabhupada would, in a very generic way, say that I am not this body, I am spirit soul. So he would say that actually I am not this body, I am the spirit soul. So in the regional Indian languages, let's say in Hindi, the typical way that is spoken is कि हम शरीर नहीं है, हम आत्मा है. The word hum could be I, it could be all of us. It could mean like that. The audience was convinced that Srila Prabhupada was not the body, he was the soul. They would think Swamiji is very special. Because Prabhupada would say, I am not the body, I am the soul. So they would think, oh my God, this person is very, very elevated and strange. He is not the body, he is the soul. It took them quite some time to realize that actually this applied to each one of us. So we have to understand that we have a body. And a body is functional at two levels. The physical level of the senses and the subtle level of the mind. The purification of the mind is a very important consideration, because without the purification of the mind, or without the mind being favorably disposed towards spiritual understanding, one finds a disciplined practice of spirituality to be very, very challenging. Hence, Krishna is advising Arjuna to make his mind his friend, in the sense that you and the mind have to be on the same page. Bandhur atmatmanas tasya. The mind can be your friend, so Arjuna, make your mind your friend. So Arjuna, he put his trust in Lord Krishna. That is the nature of Arjun, to trust Lord Krishna. So he's put his trust in him and he decided to make his mind his friend. And in retrospect, when you look at Arjun's life, we find that by doing so, it benefited Arjun a lot. By putting his trust in Krishna's words and then acting accordingly. Then there is his cousin Duryodhana. Based upon the testimony of the Mahabharata and also the Puranas, at one point of time when Duryodhana was facing some challenges in life, and he also had the opportunity to interact with Lord Krishna, Duryodhana was also given the opportunity. In Duryodhana's case, it wasn't very easy for him to put all of his trust in Lord Krishna. He only put as much trust as he thought would benefit him. And when he found himself to be in conflict with the idea of putting his trust in Krishna, he decided to go his way. So what could happen if we kind of do a psychological analysis, a little bit, not too much, but a little bit, of these two vrittis, these two approaches in life. One is the approach that Arjun had and the other is the approach that Duryodhana has. Then maybe we could try and see what could be certain helpful tips from either understandings. From the understanding of Duryodhana's approach and the understanding of Arjuna's approach. So in the Mahabharata, the epic, which chronicles the life of the family of Arjun and the family of Duryodhana, both of them are actually cousins. But at the same time, Duryodhana had his brothers born of the same mother and born of the same father, and Arjun had his brothers born of the same father. So Arjun's brothers are called Pandavas, including Arjun, and Duryodhana's brothers are called as Kauravas, including Duryodhana. How does Duryodhana manage life or manage opportunities that come to him in life? And how does Arjun do it? One famous example is, or how do the Pandavas do it? So if it is Arjun, that very famous example, which I'm not going to really expand on much, is when the two of them, on behalf of Yudhishthir Maharaj, his eldest brother, Arjun approached Krishna in Dwarka, and Duryodhana personally came to Dwarka, and the two of them came at the same time to seek Krishna's help. So that is, if you're not aware of this particular episode from the Mahabharata, then we can discuss, or we can share notes after class. What I would like to refer to today is another episode that has been described in the Mahabharata. So the Mahabharata is an epic written by Vyasadeva, or he is the author of the Mahabharata. There are various historical references put down in the form of stories in the Mahabharata. And the most protracted of all references is the story about the Kauravas and the Pandavas. At one point of time, the two camps were so at loggerheads with each other, especially from the Kauravas side, that they had to fight a war. And they had so many allies come and join them. So a huge army had come together to fight a war. And in any war, generally there are two sides. So there is a side of the Kauravas and there is a side of the Pandavas, and many other kings had come to join either side. So before the war could start, or various kings of those times were offering their allegiance to either Duryodhana and the Kaurava camp, or they were offering their allegiance to Yudhishthira and his camp. One such person who had come to participate in the war, feeling that it is his duty, as everyone else felt that it is their duty to participate in the war. So one such person that had come was a king of the name Shalya. How many of us have heard of the king Shalya? Please raise up your hands. Good. So Shalya, thank you. For the others, let me just briefly explain who Shalya is. Shalya is the maternal uncle of the Pandavas. He is also the king of Madra province. So he is Madra Raj. So he was a very righteous king. So when he left his kingdom along with his army and was on the way to Hastinapur, and thereon they would come to Kurukshetra, the place where the war would take place, the battlefield. So many of the allies had come to Hastinapur. So when he was on the way to Hastinapur, Duryodhana, through his spies, got information that Shalya is coming with one Akshahani, a huge army. Duryodhana knew that since Shalya is a very, very righteous king, and also the uncle of the Pandavas, he would have more affinity for the Pandavas. Now Yudhishthira Maharaj had also gotten information through his spies that his maternal uncle Shalya is on his way to Hastinapur. Duryodhana, he arranged for a wonderful reception of Shalya's army at some distance away from Hastinapur. Now, it's not very easy to do that. Like, look at, if we want to, like, one Akshani is like almost tens of thousands of people, horses, cavalry, elephants. So let's look at the constructions that are taking place around. It takes a few months for getting things up. Duryodhana raised an entire facility to welcome Shalya. However, he did not advertise it in any ways as, this is such and such construction, like Duryodhana and company construction. No, he did not do that. Duryodhana brothers. He did not put out a board. However, the people who were there to welcome Shalya, they were very well trained. So they welcomed Shalya as the uncle of the entire kingdom and his army. So King Shalya felt very, very comfortable with the reception, and his understanding was that who else could it be but my nephew Yudhishthir. So he was completely caught off guard. This was Duryodhana's ability to scheme. He was so sharp and intelligent. He had gone to some of the best schools in the country then, the Nalanda of those times or the Harvard of today's times. He knew diplomacy and also various other arts. He really knew it well. Shalya is also a very, very intelligent king. It's not easy to fool a king, the king's ministers, the king's diplomats. It was a very serious undercover event. It was camouflaged in such a way that King Shalya was he let go of his guards. He was so happy. He was completely convinced this is Yudhishthir. Despite the fact that Shalya is coming to partly had his own spies getting information and gathering information. Espionage to the best, where King Shalya often not be able to reach up to Shalya, and Shalya's spy to be able to manage all of this requires immense discipline. It needs as much as he wasn't on his side. Not only would it give him moral support, emotional support, but also an army. Duryodhana beat him at that game. So Duryodhana knew the very tactics that are needed to advance, to grow, to be successful in life. And hence, it can be safely concluded that he also knew that ultimately the goal of life is to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Holy Scriptures that are very dear to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the Hari Bhakti Vilas is very much revered. This book has been presented by Sanatan Goswami. He has also been assisted by Gopal Bhatta Goswami, two well-renowned authors, saints in our Gaudiya Vaishnavism, in our ISKCON family. So in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, he offers a prayer. Sanatan Goswami offers a prayer to Lord Hari. And the prayer is as follows. Janami dharmam na cha me pravrittir, janamya dharmam na cha me nivrittihi, tvaya rishikesh hridhi sthitena, yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. Did it sound good, the prayer? I really need you to respond to that. Did the prayer sound good?
Yes.
How good was it? The melody was good? Okay. Let me try this again. Alright? Because obviously it is not the English language. It seems to be Sanskrit because we know something of Sanskrit. So let us try it again. Okay? Janami dharmam na cha me pravritte, janami dharmam na cha me nivritti, tvaya rishikesh hridhi sthitena, yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. How does it sound now? Good? Good enough that you would like to recite after me? That good? You want to participate?
Yes.
You never know. Some prayers have lot of potency. So knowingly or unknowingly, if you chant that prayer, who knows? It could be very beneficial, right? Do you think we should take our chance?
Yes.
I have already done it twice. I wouldn't mind going for it a third time, right? Would you want to do that? Everyone is eager to do that? All right, let's go for it. So, there are 4 lines to this prayer. So, I'll recite one line and then you can repeat after me. Is that okay? Yeah? All right. Janami dharmam na cha me pravrittir. Was that easy or should I break it down a little more? Please be frank. Can I break it down a little more or is it good? Good for everyone? Yeah? Janamya dharmam na cha me nivrittihi. Tvaya rishikesh hridhi sthitena. Okay, let's do that again. Tvaya rishikesh hridhi sthitena. Yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. Now we should be eager to know what have we prayed for, isn't it? So what we have prayed for is that after this class, you are going to give a big donation to me. So next time, you should also be very, very careful if someone just makes you chant a prayer in a language that you do not know. In our case, it is a beautiful and benign prayer in the sense that it just is asking for some help from the Lord. In this prayer, we are asking for some help from the Lord. So Sanatana Goswami in this prayer, he says, Janami dharmam. Dharma means the way of life, the religious way or the correct way of life or religious principles. Take it, something along those lines. That is dharma. That which is auspicious, that which is satya, the truth. That is dharma. And the opposite of dharma is adharma. The opposite of dharma is adharma. So janami, I know. Dharmam, I know what is righteousness. I know what is the truth. No cha me, still I am not pravrittihi, inclined towards principles of righteousness. So I know what is right. Na cha me pravrittihi. However, it is not, I am not really very much inclined towards it. Somebody has to force me and maybe I'll do it, but I don't find self-stimulation. That is what he is stating. Na cha me pravritti. Jana me dharmam. Again, he says janamya dharmam, but here it is, if you break it down, it is janami adharmam. I also know what is incorrect. Or if you want to use strong words, then you can say what is sinful. But we don't like to use strong words. We should not do it. I mean, if the word incorrect helps us to improve, good enough. Why create a boogie of sins, right? Yeah. So, janamya dharmam, na cha me nivritti. I know what is incorrect. I know what is not helpful. And still, I do not find sufficient stimulus to reject it. I am not stimulated enough to say no to that which is wrong. There is weakness. So there is the strength to say yes to that which is right, and the weakness which makes me not say no to that which is wrong is my problem, says Sanatana Goswami. So, Tvaya Rishike, oh my dear Lord, you are the master of the senses. So he is talking to Krishna and he's saying, I heard that you are the master of the senses. Rishikesha means one who is the master of everyone's senses. Wherever there are senses, the eyes, nose, ears, tongue, wherever they are there, then the master of that is, it's like everyone has got a lifelong mortgage to pay to Krishna for the senses that they are having. So Krishna is who has lent us all of that. So we have to pay the mortgage to him, or we have to serve him. So Rishikesha, that is who Krishna is, the master of the senses. So Tvaya Rishikesha, oh my dear Lord, I am approaching you with this prayer. Hridhi sthitena, and to approach you, I do not have to take a train or take a flight or even walk. Why? Because you're situated right within my heart. So I can very easily approach you. So Tvaya Rishikesh Hridhi Sthitena Yatha Niyuktosmi. So please guide me, help me. How? Tatha Karomi. Guide me and help me to find the strength to say yes to that which is right and to say no to that which is incorrect. Tatha karomi. And whatever vision you give unto me, I will try and work on it. Tatha karomi. Whatever instructions, whatever insights you share with me in this regards, I'll put all my trust into you and do my best to correct, for course correction. So I'll work on my strengths and I'll work on my weaknesses. With my strength, I would try to do all that is favorable, which is, I'm finding it a great challenge to be able to do that. And which my weaknesses, when I work on it, I'll try to give up on my weaknesses and not trust my weaknesses. I would try to stay away from my weaknesses, not give it a chance. So this is the approach through this prayer that Sanatana Goswami has. This is from the Hari Bhakti Vilas. Now there is a prayer that has been attributed to Duryodhana too. However, it is from one of the, let us say, the subsidiary books of knowledge. It is not there in the primary books of knowledge. Like Hari Bhakti Vilas is one of the primary books of knowledge. But Duryodhana's prayer, the prayer that has been attributed to Duryodhana, is from one of the subsidiary books. This prayer I would like to also put forth here in today's assembly. The reason is that, let's see what is the reason, why I am interested in putting forth this prayer. So his prayer goes like this. Duryodhana prayers. Janami dharmam na cha me pravrittir, janami dharmam na cha me nivrittihi. Sounds familiar? Was this prayer chanted before? Do you think we are being repetitive here? So Duryodhana is also praying. Janami dharmam na cha me pravrittir, janami adharmam. But in his prayer it is Janami papam na cha me nivrittihi. So he knows what is papa. He knows what is sin. Kenapi devena hridaya sthitena. So his prayer is Kenapi devena hridaya sthitena yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. So in Hari Bhakti Vilas, Sanatana Goswami's prayer is Tvaya Rishikesha hridaya sthitena. O Master of the senses. Duryodhana's prayer is, and this is the only difference. In his prayer, Sanatana Goswami says, Janami adharmam. Duryodhana says, Janami papam. And I do not find the strength to say no to papa. I mean, yes, there are a lot of unfavorable things that I do not do, but there are so many that I do not find the strength to say no to. So he is also expressing a similar sentiment. And then he says, Kenapi devena hridaya sthitena. And that is a twist in his prayer. He says, Kenapi. He says, I have no idea why that happens. Sanatana Goswami says he accepts the ownership of his state of existence. Sanatana Goswami says that I know exactly that this is because of me. At the same time, I know that you are also present with me and hence I can take shelter of you. Duryodhana's approach is, I have no idea why I'm forced to be like this. So Duryodhana is very, very cunningly rejecting ownership of his problem. Very cunningly. Whereas Sanatana Goswami is accepting responsibility for the situation that he is in. And then Duryodhana is not only not accepting the ownership, is not accepting that maybe it is he and his mentality, his attitude that is the cause of the problem that he is in. He is not ready to accept that. At the same time, he is projecting the responsibility onto someone else. That I'm not sure why I'm in a situation like this, and hence I don't think so I'm responsible for not being very, very eager to give up papa. However, nothing in this world happens without the sanction of the Supreme, and therefore the Supreme is responsible for my predicament. Therefore, God is responsible for my predicament. Krishna is responsible for my predicament. Or fate, destiny is responsible for my predicament. Kenapi devena hridaya sthitena. And where does fate exist? Where does destiny exist? Within my heart. I'm born with my destiny. So these two approaches are quite opposite to each other. With one approach, one can actually spirit soul, one can be free from the bondages of bodily existence. That is the approach that Sanatana Goswami has. And the other approach is of Duryodhana. And in this approach, one wants to be free of the challenges that are there. However, that approach does not encourage one to try and look towards liberation of life, in life. Look towards freedom from bondage of bodily existence of life. The approach that Duryodhana has is, since God is responsible for everything that is happening in my life, what kind of God is he? Why would he do this to me or to someone else that I know? And therefore, I am forced to reject the authority of God. And rejecting the authority of God, I am left with no other choice but to state my authority. And who is responsible for me being in the situation where I am forced to put down my foot and state my authority? Devena, fate, destiny. And hence, when Duryodhana had the opportunity to seek guidance from Krishna, just as Arjuna had the opportunity to seek guidance from Krishna, Arjuna made the most of it. And Duryodhana was open enough to accept Krishna's guidance to the point where Krishna would do what Duryodhana wanted him to do. And as soon as Duryodhana realized that Krishna is actually trying to get his will done, which was against Duryodhana's personal will or desires, he immediately turned against Krishna. He tried to capture Krishna and put him in prison, which is very unfortunate. Now, there are a lot of people in this world who would want to take the Mahabharata and take the story of the Pandavas and Kauravas within the Mahabharata and reduce it to simply symbolism. That the Pandavas are the senses, there are 5 senses. They want to reduce it to symbolism. Even if we want to bring things to a symbolic understanding, that is all right. Symbolism does play a part in our lives. Like when we offer as Vaishnavas, when we bow down our head in front of Krishna or in front of Srila Prabhupada or the other Vaishnavas too, we do either the Panchanga Pranam or the Ashtanga Pranam. That is symbolic of our seeking shelter of them. Do you think somebody bent over like that always is offering surrender? If I have a huge stomach ache, I'll be bent over, right? Holding my stomach, I'll go down like that. Do you think that shows that I'm trying to take shelter of someone? It is simply my body is doubled over. Now if I fall flat to the ground, Does it always mean that I'm trying to be surrendered? It could just be a heart attack that I'm having. It could be a physical ailment. It could just be I've lost consciousness, low blood pressure, whatever it could be. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
So when we do that, symbolically it represents that we are trying to take shelter. So symbolism plays a part in our life. So if we want to bring the story of the Pandavas and the Kauravas to a symbolic element, then the symbolism could be the mentality of the Pandavas and the mentality of the Kauravas. The mentality of Duryodhana, what does it represent? It represents the intent that plagues every individual, puts them in a state of confusion. Should I accept of my own doing, or should I put the blame on someone else? So that is Duryodhana. Now doing that is not always helpful. Sometimes if that is how the situation is, then one may want to try and speak up the truth, that no, I am not responsible for this is their responsibility, and here is the pramana, the proof or the data that supports it. Now we are just trying to present the truth. Like when Srila Prabhupada was asked that, Swamiji, why don't you name your organization in International Society for God Consciousness? So he said, well, Krishna is God. Is there anyone else who's God? Krishna is God. Now you may not know the word Krishna. You may only know the word God. But from where Srila Prabhupada comes, the Vedic culture, the word God, one of the words for God is Bhagavan, and another word for God is Krishna. The difference between Bhagavan and Krishna is Bhagavan refers to God as a person who possesses all opulences. And Krishna is the word that refers to the same God who attracts everyone because he has all opulences. In fact, Krishna, the word, refers to how God can attract even non-living entities. Living and non-living both are attracted to God, hence Krishna, the all-attractive. Therefore, Prabhupada said, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This is truth. And Prabhupada is stating facts. He could have easily said, yes, God consciousness. Many people are sometimes trying to be politically correct. We could also do it. There could be a lot of antagonistic people in the audience, like 9 out of 10 could be them. So maybe you would like to, based upon our situation, we would like to use the word God instead of Krishna. Or we could think that, no, I would want to just express what is the truth and say Krishna. It's up to us. Prabhupada, he said, I'm establishing this society, and therefore the society is about Krishna consciousness, and that is what the name should be. So that is one part of life. What is the Duryodhana approach of life? Symbolically, what is it? It shows that where one does not want to take ownership, but not just that, one deflects it in such a way and confuses people and kind of fools everyone else, including oneself, that fate is responsible for this. And accordingly, who can fight against fate? So we just give up. The approach of Arjun symbolically is, or Sanatan Goswami in this case, his prayer is, my dear Lord, I accept the responsibility for where I am, knowing my strengths and weaknesses. Fate gave me an opportunity. Destiny has given me an opportunity to do better. I lost those opportunities because of my own weakness. However, I have the ace card up my sleeve. I have you. I have tried my best. I accept responsibility for all my shortcomings. However, it is fate itself, my own destiny, that is also giving me the option to pray unto you and seek your blessings. So if I have to accept the supremacy of fate or destiny in my life, then I look at it as an opportunity missed when I have not made sufficient efforts towards growing more, and also as an opportunity to seek blessings and shelter of you. So I don't blame my fate for where I am. And I also don't want to go into a very, very dark place in my life like, oh, since I am responsible for everything that I've done, hence I should do something really bad with myself. I don't go into that dark place too. Why? Because I don't need to. I have you. Bright as the sun. And therefore I pray unto you. Yatha nyuktosmi. Give me a vision that I can hold on to. I trust you to give me that vision. I trust you to give me those instructions. And I promise you that based on those instructions, I will again work responsibly and bring about improvements in myself. That would be my service unto you, my dear Lord. I just need course correction, that's all. And you are one of the best instructors. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any additions or corrections? Any comments? Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. So you mentioned that being that repentant mood is not a dark place because Krishna's shelter is there. The devotee prays to Krishna as he takes responsibility for his actions, and this would be an example of that kind of prayer. Say that you are within my heart, and I have weakness of heart. So please remove that weakness. But at the same time, does that involve the person? It's like taking like if I don't have any power, and all power comes from you, and all I do here is prayer, doesn't it take away the responsibility of action from that person who prays like that?
Thank you for bringing up that point. It's an interesting point, isn't it? And yes, we have to analyze all aspects of any vision that is presented. So if I am not happy with the place where I am because of, let's say, certain losses in life, or not achieving what I want to achieve in life, and then I seek shelter of Krishna by praying and asking him for help. So it's a good thing that I take ownership of where I am. I take responsibility for my actions and its concomitant results. However, would that make me lose faith in my own abilities and take me into a dark place where I feel I am not capable of any achievement, and hence I should be dependent on Krishna, because Krishna he's got veto power, right? So he can turn tables around. So would that be the approach? And hence with that approach, would that mean that we become inactive? Because now since Krishna is in the picture, then why should I interfere with what he wants to get done? Sounds like good logic, isn't it? Yes, this is good logic. Nyaya. What is correct, what is incorrect, what is beneficial and what is not. This is how debates happen actually. Vad. When we say debates in the Vedic language, it is Vad, Samvad. So the prayer that we were referring to, two prayers. One is being offered by Sanatana Goswami in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, and the other is it is accepted by a lot of people that it was offered by Duryodhana. And in both the prayers, the conclusion is Yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. Once I understand what are the schematics, once I get a better plan, I understand what the instructions are, then I will act on those instructions. So the prayer is that I have ultimately to perform my actions. Unfortunately, up till now, my actions had been infected by my strengths and weaknesses, lack of strength and my weaknesses. So now, you are going to give me an action plan, my dear Lord. That is what I pray for. And though that plan may not be, I could work on based upon my own strength. And now, once I have received those instructions from you, I will act on it. I will do what the instructions want me to do, what the vision is expecting me to perform. So that, again, I take ownership of that. So that is Sanatana Goswami's prayer, that I take ownership of further action. Without that, I'm not going to get the results, beneficial results. Even Duryodhana kind of is saying the same thing. However, what he's saying is that I've already been instructed, yatha niyuktosmi, by my destiny. And there's nothing further to be known. So since it is my destiny to give up on my strengths and to go along with my weaknesses, that is what I'm going to do. Tatha karomi. Hence, I'm not going to listen to you, Krishna. I'm not going to go with any, what is it that our president here is wanting to get done? Ceasefire. So the reason is like, I'm not going to come to any terms of ceasefire. I'm not going to accept it. Why? Because my destiny is directing me, knowing very well what is dharma and what is papa, to do that what I'm destined to do. Fight and claim that which is my own, without giving anything to anyone else. I will give in charity, but I will decide whether I want to share what I have with someone else or not. Duryodhana was completely convinced that it is his property. It is his destiny. So he also will be very, very active in his life, as would Sanatana Goswami, and based on that prayer we can say Arjun. So prayers both ways are inviting the person offering the prayer to be active in their life, to go on performing actions in their life to get the results of those activities. Is that helpful?
Yes, sir.
Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.